Welcome to Module C1 of the NATMed Training Program that introduces the economic mechanisms, opportunities, and business models that enable NBS to be implemented and scaled effectively. By completing this module, you will understand why nature-based solutions can be more cost-effective than grey infrastructure when assessed over their full life cycle. You will explore key financial appraisal tools and learn how they support investment decisions. The module will also introduce different types of revenue streams that nature-based solutions can generate. You will identify and compare business models suitable for nature-based solutions implementation across different stakeholder and market contexts, and recognize the policy, institutional, financial, technical, and governance conditions needed to move nature-based solutions beyond pilot phases. Finally, you will learn how to assess the financial and market readiness of nature-based solutions projects using practical tools and real-world examples. This module is designed for public authorities and water infrastructure managers who are responsible for planning and financing water-related investments. It is also relevant for agricultural businesses, SMEs, and entrepreneurs interested in nature-based solutions as viable economic activities. Tourism operators and local communities will find value in understanding how nature-based solutions can generate co-benefits and local income, while policymakers can use this knowledge to support enabling frameworks and investment decisions. Full water cycle nature-based solutions are designed to respond to a set of interconnected challenges found in Mediterranean regions. First, many areas experience strong seasonal water imbalances. Water demand increases significantly during summer months due to tourism and agriculture, while water availability often decreases, leading to inefficient use and resource depletion. Second, existing water infrastructure is often outdated and struggles to cope with rising demand and climate-related pressures. Storage, distribution, and treatment systems were not designed for today's levels of stress, creating the need for more adaptive and sustainable solutions. Third, traditional water management approaches tend to focus on individual stages of the water cycle, such as storage or distribution, without considering the system as a whole. This fragmentation limits effectiveness and prevents balanced water conservation and reuse. Finally, stakeholders face growing environmental and social pressures. There is increasing demand to protect ecosystems, deliver ecosystem services, support circular economy principles, and ensure social equity and inclusion within water management strategies. Having outlined the key problems that full water cycle nature-based solutions aim to address, we now turn to the main benefits they offer in response, starting from the holistic approach to water management. They address water challenges across the entire water cycle, from capture and storage to treatment and reuse. By combining multiple nature-based solutions and tailoring them to local ecological, climatic, and socioeconomic conditions, they help manage seasonal imbalances, reducing drought pressures while handling surplus water during wetter periods. This also reduces reliance on costly or outdated grey infrastructure and improves overall system efficiency. Another key benefit is that these solutions are locally co-designed and socially inclusive. Instead of being imposed top-down, they are developed with communities, policymakers, farmers, businesses, and other local actors. This ensures that solutions reflect local realities, incorporate traditional knowledge, and gain long-term acceptance, which is essential for sustainability. Full water cycle nature-based solutions also deliver strong environmental and climate resilience benefits. They enhance biodiversity, improve soil health and ecosystem functioning, reduce pollution, and increase resilience to droughts, floods, and climate extremes. At the same time, they support compliance with European and national environmental and water regulations. Finally, these solutions generate a wide range of co-benefits, including recreational, educational, tourism, and agricultural benefits. These co-benefits also create the basis for the economic value and business opportunities discussed in the next section. From an economic perspective, many nature-based solutions perform better than conventional grey infrastructure over their life cycle. They often require lower upfront investment and significantly lower operation and maintenance costs. Solutions such as constructed wetlands, for example, can deliver comparable treatment performance with minimal energy use, no chemicals, and simple maintenance. When we look at typical amortization periods, many nature-based solutions recover their costs within a relatively short time frame, often between 0 and 10 years, depending on land availability, climate conditions, and system characteristics. To properly assess the economic performance of nature-based solutions, structured appraisal tools are essential. Costs include both capital investments, such as construction and planting, and ongoing operational and monitoring costs. At the same time, nature-based solutions deliver multiple benefits, ranging from reduced treatment costs and improved agricultural productivity to lower fertilizer use and ecosystem restoration. Cost-benefit analysis and cost-effectiveness assessment help compare these costs and benefits over short, medium, and long-term horizons, ensuring that nature-based solutions remain financially sustainable beyond initial project funding. Beyond direct financial savings, full water cycle nature-based solutions generate co-benefits with clear economic value. These include ecosystem services such as water purification, groundwater recharge, flood buffering, and erosion control. By enhancing natural processes, nature-based solutions reduce pressure on treatment systems and improve water security. Biodiversity and habitat creation also contribute to economic value, both directly and indirectly, by supporting ecosystem stability, agricultural productivity, and compliance with environmental regulations. These co-benefits strengthen the overall economic case for nature-based solutions beyond their primary water management function. Those kind of solutions also create strong economic value by reducing risks and avoiding future damages. By mitigating floods, droughts, erosion, and pollution, nature-based solutions help prevent costly damage to infrastructure, agricultural land, and ecosystems. These avoided costs significantly improve the overall economic performance of investments. Economic value is further optimized through hybrid solutions. Combining nature-based solutions with targeted grey infrastructure upgrades often delivers better performance at lower cost, making systems more efficient without requiring full replacement of existing assets. At the same time, nature-based solutions generate tangible savings for users and positive local economic impacts. Households, farmers, and businesses benefit from reduced water, energy, and treatment costs, while local economies gain through job creation in planning, construction, monitoring, and maintenance. From an investment perspective, evidence and transparency are critical. Monitoring results, clear documentation, and measurable indicators help de-risk investments, build confidence among funders, and support informed decision-making. Finally, long-term financial sustainability depends on planning for scale. Nature-based solutions must be embedded in municipal budgets, planning processes, and aligned with regional and EU funding frameworks, ensuring that benefits continue well beyond pilot phases. To make full water cycle nature-based solutions attractive for decision-makers and funders, municipalities need to compare costs and benefits in a structured and transparent way and identify viable financing strategies. Several appraisal tools support this process. Cost-effectiveness analysis focuses on comparing the cost per unit of outcome, such as the cost per cubic meter of treated water or per hectare restored, and is particularly useful when benefits are difficult to monetize. Cost-benefit analysis goes a step further by comparing all quantifiable costs and benefits over the life cycle of an intervention. This includes direct financial savings, avoided costs, and where possible, non-market benefits such as ecosystem services or recreational value. Multi-criteria analysis is especially useful when decisions involve multiple objectives and trade-offs. It allows planners and stakeholders to compare environmental, social, technical, economic, and governance aspects simultaneously, and is recommended when benefits cannot easily be expressed in monetary terms. Importantly, all these analyses should consider short, medium, and long-term horizons, as many benefits of nature-based solutions increase over time. For example, through improved soil fertility or biodiversity. Financing strategies are essential to ensure that full water cycle nature-based solutions move beyond pilot projects and become scalable, long-term solutions. In practice, this often means combining different sources of finance. Public funding from EU and national programs can support early stages, while public-private partnerships can help deliver infrastructure and water services at scale. Other approaches include payments for ecosystem services, as well as carbon or biodiversity credit schemes, which help monetize environmental benefits. Local revenue streams such as ecotourism, sustainable branding of agricultural products, or water tariffs can also contribute to financial sustainability. Finally, crowdfunding and community financing can play a role in increasing local ownership and supporting smaller-scale interventions. In most cases, a blended finance approach is the most robust way to support long-term nature-based solutions implementation. To strengthen the financial readiness of nature-based solution projects, municipalities and water authorities can make use of the Financing Framework for Water Security, a methodology that links project preparation with investment requirements, helping transform nature-based solutions concepts into bankable and investable projects. It supports the development of a robust business case, structures blended finance strategies that combine public, concessional, and private funding, and integrates climate risk management into public, private, and performance-based contracts. Importantly, the Financing Framework for Water Security helps align technical, financial, and governance components during project preparation. By incorporating climate risk clauses, performance indicators, and revenue mechanisms such as water reuse tariffs, payments for ecosystem services, or avoided cost capture into contracts, investor confidence is increased and risks for municipalities are reduced. Overall, the Financing Framework for Water Security provides a practical framework for designing climate-resilient, nature-based solutions contracts and investment models. The future of financing nature-based solutions and hybrid infrastructure increasingly lies in what are known as mosaic projects. These projects deliver multiple services at the same time and tap into several markets simultaneously. Rather than relying on a single funding source, investors and project developers are increasingly stacking revenues, for example from water quality credits, recreation payments, or habitat mitigation. Market evidence shows that hybrid infrastructure combining green and grey elements is often more attractive to developers than purely green solutions, as it offers more predictable performance and diversified income streams. However, implementing mosaic projects requires innovative procurement and contracting practices. These must coordinate multiple authorities, blend public and private finance, and manage complex service hierarchies. Successful contracts clearly define functions, service levels, and trade-offs across the full life cycle, from design and construction to operation and maintenance. To conclude this section, it is useful to highlight a few key takeaways for practice. Different appraisal tools serve different purposes. Cost-effectiveness analysis is useful when benefits are mainly environmental and difficult to monetize, while cost-benefit analysis supports more comprehensive appraisals, including avoided damages and co-benefits. Involving economists and stakeholders early helps ensure that assumptions are realistic and credible. Successful nature-based solutions projects usually rely on a mix of funding sources. Combining public grants, private partnerships, and innovative mechanisms such as payments for ecosystem services or environmental credits improves financial resilience. Clear documentation of financial assumptions and monitoring results is essential to convince funders. Equally important is preparing well-designed performance-based contracts with clearly defined key performance indicators. These form the foundation for successfully financing and managing NBS projects. At the same time, some common pitfalls should be avoided. Nature-based solutions should not be assessed only on short-term costs, as many benefits accrue over time. Operation and maintenance costs must be planned for, even if they are lower than for grey infrastructure. Not all co-benefits can be monetized, so alternative appraisal methods may be needed. Finally, relying solely on project grants is risky. Long-term financing strategies are essential. Water-related nature-based solutions can generate both direct and indirect revenues by improving water availability, quality, and reliability. In Mediterranean regions where droughts, over-abstraction, and pollution are major challenges, monetizing the value of water services creates strong incentives to sustain nature-based solutions investments over time. One important revenue pathway is water tariffs and reuse fees. Treated wastewater from nature-based solutions, such as constructed wetlands, can be reused in agriculture, industry, or landscaping, with utilities or municipalities charging a tariff for this reclaimed water. Another form of economic value comes from avoided costs. By reducing the need for pumping, desalination, or energy-intensive grey treatment, nature-based solutions generate savings that can be considered implicit revenues. Payments for ecosystem services offer another mechanism, where downstream users such as utilities or agricultural users compensate upstream communities for maintaining ecosystems that support water regulation and quality. Finally, water quality trading and nutrient credits are emerging mechanisms where pollution reductions achieved through nature-based solutions can be monetized in regulated or voluntary markets. Together, these revenue streams represent one of the most promising economic cases for sustaining full water cycle nature-based solutions in Mediterranean regions. The next section presents a simple framework for setting up water-related revenue streams for full water cycle nature-based solutions. The first step is to map ecosystem services and beneficiaries. This means identifying which water-related services the nature-based solutions provide, such as water reuse, flood regulation, aquifer recharge, or nutrient removal, and who benefits from them, including farmers, utilities, municipalities, households, or tourism operators. The second step is to quantify benefits in economic terms. This can include avoided costs such as reduced pumping, desalination, or chemical treatment, as well as added value like higher crop yields, improved product branding, or increased tourism spending. Where possible, cost-effectiveness or cost-benefit analysis can be used to compare nature-based solutions with grey alternatives. The third step is choosing the revenue mechanism. This could involve reuse tariffs for reclaimed water, payments for ecosystem services, reinvesting efficiency-based savings, or generating income through tourism or educational activities. Next, governance and legal arrangements need to be established. This includes drafting contracts or agreements, setting affordable but cost-recovering tariffs, and clarifying who manages and allocates revenues. Finally, revenue schemes should be piloted, monitored, and scaled. Starting small allows learning and adjustment before expanding to more users or combining multiple revenue streams. To conclude this section, it is important to keep a few common pitfalls in mind. First, payments for ecosystem services can be effective, but they involve transaction costs related to contracts, monitoring, and enforcement, which must be planned for. Pricing also requires careful attention. Reclaimed water tariffs need to be affordable for users while still recovering costs. It is also important to avoid double counting. Savings from reduced pumping or energy use are often indirect benefits rather than new revenue streams, but they remain economically significant. Finally, regulatory constraints should not be overlooked. In some Mediterranean countries, legal frameworks for water reuse or water-related markets are still evolving, which can limit how revenue mechanisms are applied in practice. So how do nature-based solutions actually work financially in practice? Who pays for the nature-based solutions? Who benefits from it? And how are costs, revenues, and responsibilities shared over time? These are the core questions that business models for nature-based solutions aim to answer. In simple terms, a business model describes how value is created, delivered, and captured. For full water cycle nature-based solutions in the Mediterranean, choosing the right business model is essential for replication and long-term sustainability. One common approach is the public sector model, where nature-based solutions are financed, implemented, and maintained using public funds, typically by municipalities or river basin authorities. This is currently the most widespread model for water-related nature-based solutions in Europe, especially for pilot projects and public goods services. A second typology is the private sector model, where private actors such as farmers, utilities, or businesses invest directly because they benefit from the solution. This may include reduced water or energy costs, improved water security, or compliance with environmental standards. Public-private partnerships combine public oversight with private investment and expertise. These models work particularly well when nature-based solutions deliver both public benefits, such as ecosystem services, and private gains, such as reliable irrigation or reduced operational risks. Another important typology is the community-based or cooperative model, where local communities or farmer cooperatives co-finance and manage nature-based solutions. These models strengthen local ownership, encourage long-term stewardship, and are often linked to irrigation associations or shared maintenance schemes. Payments for ecosystem services represent a results-based model where beneficiaries downstream, such as utilities, industries, or municipalities, compensate upstream actors who implement nature-based solutions that improve water quality or aquifer recharge. Finally, market-linked models connect nature-based solutions to markets for carbon, biodiversity, ecotourism, or sustainable product branding. While still emerging in Mediterranean contexts, these models are growing globally and can complement more traditional financing approaches. In practice, many successful nature-based solutions projects combine elements from several of these typologies, adapting the business model to local conditions, governance structures, and market maturity. Having seen the main business model typologies for nature-based solutions, the next step is understanding how to choose the most appropriate model for a specific project. A useful way to think about a business model is as the story of your nature-based solution project. The first step is identifying who benefits from the nature-based solutions. These could be farmers, water utilities, municipalities, tourists, or local communities. Next, assess their willingness and ability to pay. Some actors may be able to fully finance an intervention. Others may co-finance, pay tariffs, or contribute indirectly through avoided costs or ecosystem service payments. Based on this, the third step is selecting the appropriate structure from the ones discussed in the previous section. The fourth step is securing governance arrangements. This means clearly defining contracts, roles, responsibilities, and risk-sharing mechanisms to ensure transparency and long-term operation. Finally, it is important to plan for scaling from the start. Business models should be flexible enough to evolve, for example, moving from a publicly funded pilot to a PPP or a market-based model as the NbS matures. Here you can see the Nature-Based Solutions Business Model Canvas, a practical visual tool developed through the Connecting Nature initiative and Horizon Newer spin-off. It is designed to support early-stage planning of nature-based solutions projects, helping actors structure value creation, delivery, and financing in a clear and collaborative way. Its structure is based on the original business model canvas by Osterwalder and Pinier, but adapted to reflect the multifunctional and cross-sectoral nature of nature-based solutions. For more information, please check the resources provided in the module booklet. To close this section, a few common pitfalls are worth highlighting. Relying only on short-term project funding such as EU grants is risky and often undermines long-term sustainability. Business models also fail when stakeholders do not clearly see the benefits or have no incentive to contribute. Operation and maintenance costs must always be planned for, as many nature-based solutions fail not at implementation but during operation. Finally, market-based revenues, such as carbon or biodiversity credits, should not be assumed to materialize quickly, as they often require certification, monitoring, and supporting market infrastructure. Nature-based solutions cannot thrive on technical design alone. To be implemented, replicated, and scaled, they need a supportive, enabling framework. This framework is built around 5 core pillars. First, the policy and legal pillar ensures that nature-based solutions are recognized in water, climate, and biodiversity strategies and can be permitted through existing regulatory systems. Second, the institutional pillar clarifies who is responsible for designing, implementing, and maintaining nature-based solutions, and how different authorities coordinate across sectors and levels of governance. Third, the financial and economic pillar provides the instruments needed to fund and sustain nature-based solutions, such as grants, incentives, tariffs, payments for ecosystem services, and public-private partnerships. Fourth, the technical and knowledge pillar ensures access to guidelines, standards, monitoring systems, and decision support tools that reduce uncertainty and support quality implementation. Finally, the social and governance pillar focuses on stakeholder engagement, co-design, and trust building, ensuring local ownership and long-term acceptance. NATMed pilots showed that all 5 pillars matter in practice. Where these elements were present and aligned, nature-based solutions move from ideas to functioning solutions. This demonstrates that enabling frameworks are not abstract concepts. They are practical conditions that determine success on the ground. Despite their clear environmental and socio-economic benefits, nature-based solutions still face significant barriers to market uptake, particularly in the Mediterranean region. One major challenge is policy and regulatory barriers. Nature-based solutions are not always recognized as infrastructure, which limits access to infrastructure financing. In addition, fragmented regulations across water, agriculture, and urban planning make integrated approaches difficult. There are also financial and investment barriers. Dedicated financial products for nature-based solutions are still limited, and investors often perceive nature-based solutions as high risk with long payback periods. Co-benefits such as biodiversity or recreation are rarely fully captured in traditional cost-benefit models. Institutional and governance gaps further constrain uptake. Many municipalities lack the staff capacity or expertise to design, manage, and finance nature-based solutions projects, and coordination between governance levels is often weak. Social acceptance and awareness is another challenge. Stakeholders may mistrust green solutions compared to conventional grey infrastructure, and many citizens or businesses are unaware of the broader benefits of nature-based solutions beyond aesthetics. Finally, technical and data limitations remain critical. Nature-based solutions require site-specific data and reliable monitoring, which are often missing. Without robust data, comparison, replication, and investment justification become difficult. Together, these challenges explain why nature-based solutions often struggle to move from pilots to mainstream markets in Mediterranean contexts. With this, we conclude Module C1 on financial mechanisms, opportunities, and business models for nature-based solutions. For a detailed list of references and tools, please consult the module booklet. You may also visit our website to learn more about the NATMed Training Program, as well as other useful resources supporting the implementation of full water cycle nature-based solutions. Thank you for your attendance.